Hi, I'm Ryan Wright.
And I'm Jerry.
Welcome to Reasons to See.
Where we give you reasons to see.
And not to see.
Jack the Giant Slayer!
So let's hang out. The war between humans and giants is reignited when Jack accidentally waters the magical bean that leads to the land of the legendary giants. Ryan's consensus. There are almost no reasons to see Jack the Giant Slayer. There are almost no reasons to see Jack the Giant Slayer. Yeah, this film was surprisingly dull. I thought it was quite a bore fest, actually.
Jerry's consensus. You know, I think there are some reasons to see Jack the Giant Slayer. There are some reasons to see Jack the Giant Slayer. Yeah, like I didn't love the film, but I had a good time throughout.
Reason to see number 1. Ewan McGregor. Is there a cricket in here?
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's the best part of this movie. He's charming, he's funny at times, you know, he's like that traditional charismatic knight.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and he gives they took the story of Jack and they sort of made it into this, you know, warrior's epic. And he really does embody that sort of boisterousness that you associate with the, you know, old knights, you know. And he has the greatest, like, hairstylist in all the land.
It was like perfectly, like, you know, messy, but stylishly messy. It was great. Great hair design on Ewan McGregor.
No, totally. I mean, it's medieval times and whatnot, but he's still got like mousse and gel and like, you know, all these fancy haircare products. Reason not to see number 1. The writing.
I like when Jack waters the bean, turns into a beanstalk at his home. It's in direct proportion to where the land of the giants is. What a coinky-dink. But I guess my main problem with this film is the characters. To me, Jack is not an interesting guy. Nicholas Hoult, I'll say, does a good job with the very underwritten material he's given for Jack. But Jack himself, it's called Jack the Giant Slayer, so you would expect the main character to have a little bit more depth and a little bit more interest.
Yeah.
When there's 9-year-old boy Jack, he has a lot more to omit than older boy Jack, which was a really big letdown.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about this movie is that the characters all survive on how much you like those actors, basically.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the characters only have as much charisma as the actors playing them do. So, you know, like you said, Nicholas Hoult has a lot of charisma. He's enjoyable to watch. So, you know, that was enough to get me by with Jack. But yeah, like, none of the characters really develop at all.
Yeah, they're all supporting characters. Even Jack feels like a supporting character.
No one feels like a lead in this movie. And it also, at the same time, doesn't feel like a full ensemble piece either.
Yeah, like, it feels there's like missing elements going on with the characters.
It's just like someone took a bunch of subplots and edited them into a movie where the whole main story is somewhere else. Yeah, every character in this movie kind of conforms to a type. It's like, you're a farm boy, and you're a knight, and you're the king, and you're evil. Like, and that's about all we get. Cause like, you know, I like Stanley Tucci, but he is the most like, all his character is be a villain.
Be a bad guy.
Twirl your mustache more, you know, chew the scenery more. Like, we need to know you're evil, I guess. Like,
and you know, not just the way they wrote the characters, but I just felt like some of the plot points were a little bit off. Like they climb a beanstalk. Just a beanstalk. That's all it is. There's not like encountering any danger besides a little bit of rain here and there. And a thunderbolt, I think. But other than that, they climb a beanstalk for what feels like an hour.
See, I didn't mind that part only because it's like, in going with taking this short story, you know, about a kid who's a dumbass and like trades his horse for beans and then goes up in the sky, encounters a giant, and then kills it by causing him to trip. Like, it's a really simple story, so I liked the way they expanded it, and that felt like something out of an epic tale to me. Because in Lord of the Rings, they're always like walking for days. And
usually they encounter stuff or it's done through a quick montage, though.
True, but I still felt the time was good because it really gave me a sense of like, wow, this is a gigantic beanstalk. Like, they would be climbing this thing for days.
And the other thing, too, about the beanstalk is they don't react to it. It's like they're used to seeing the beanstalk. It's like they're not afraid of heights. They're like, Jack is a little bit afraid of heights, I guess, or you know,
he's not overly keen on
heights. That's what he says, right? Yeah. And they climb this gigantic beanstalk, but when they look down or whatever, it's like, just a beanstalk, we're gonna be fine.
Well, yeah, they do a lot to establish that the townspeople, oh, it's just a myth, all this thing about beanstalks and giants, and then when all these things start to show up, people are only like mildly surprised.
Yes, yes! And they get to the land of giants, and first off, that is the most boring place to live.
It's a lot like the human world.
Yeah, it's just, like, they get to this place, there's this huge statue of, like, a giant's face, and then they get on the land and they're like, there's nothing special about this place, it's just a large forest. That's about it. It's not a mythical fantasy place where the giants live.
Who knows, maybe we'll find out more in the sequel.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Anyway, they encounter the giants, and they're, like, so nonchalant when they see the giants. They react like, oh, I'm a little bit scared, but we gotta kill them. That's about it.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I mean, that is certainly a little bit distracting, to say the least. It's certainly an uneven script. I do like the way they structured the plot. Because, like I said before, I didn't feel like they were trying to stretch out a 2-minute story. I thought they came up with a really cool way of making that story we all heard as kids into an actual, epic tale.
See, I didn't find it to be epic, though. That was my problem with this film.
Epic-ish.
Yeah, it's like a hint of epicness in there. But, with not having good characters in there and having, like, a lot of, unevenness, epic to me is more than just the style. I feel epic is something when the film itself is like a masterpiece as well.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. I didn't feel like they were, like, clutching at any little detail to try and make this an hour and a half at most, like...
Oh, I get what you mean.
Yeah, no, it's just like the way they extended the tale, it felt natural to me.
You know what, I could give you that, because, it's weird. The film is not horrible, it's just a letdown. And it's very much an all-right movie.
Well, and I didn't really have much expectation going in for it, so maybe I was a little more, because I was like, oh cool, Bryan Singer, but I didn't like the trailer that much, so I wasn't like psyched, but it was one of those things, it's like, The Hobbit kind of feels like they were trying to expand it, and I didn't get that from this movie. That's
fair, but still, it's called Jack the Giant Slayer, and another thing, the giants, so two-dimensional characters. They're all the same. Well, there's no way to discern them, really. Besides, like, the leader of the giants. He's not much different from them. I mean, the only difference is he has a Siamese, like, retard on his shoulder. But that retarded giant right there, the little bit of him, is the most different guy. Only because he's like, ugh. That's it. I'm not saying he's a real retard.
No, I got you. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
They're just giant trolls,
basically. They're just basically less trolly trolls. And I mean, they could have taken that as license to do some crazy giant designs, and maybe they didn't have enough money or something.
Yeah, they could have written them with more interest, and then maybe the design artist could have done more, though.
Yeah, I will give you that, because a lot of them do. It just becomes a horde after a while, and then where's Two-Head Guy and the guy with the afro?
And the last thing I gotta say about the writing is, why is this movie called Jack the Giant Slayer? It's not about slaying giants. Yeah. 3 giants die in this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
And 2 of them are by luck from Jack. Jack gets lucky, so he's not a slayer, because if you're gonna call a guy the giant slayer, he's gotta have skill in some type of way.
I thought he had skill, because I thought the way he killed all the giants was by being resourceful and being like, okay, what's around that I can use? Like, like the way Jackie Chan fights is the way Jack approaches.
Oh, like using the things around him to fight.
It's like, okay, there's a knife up there, I can probably climb on it. Or like, hey, there's a piece of a beehive, we're giving away all the giant kills.
I know, but it's so much like, oh, I happen to be here. Oh, I happen to have this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not as badass as the title would have you believe. And it's certainly not as badass as the original title, which was Jack the Giant Killer.
Oh, that would have been very misleading. Especially misleading.
Yeah, this is more like Jack, the guy who cleverly thwarts a few giants.
Yeah, that's about it. Reason not to see number 2. The directing. I guess one of my bigger problems with this film too is there's a lot of uneven tonal shifts. Like at times it seems like it's meant for little kids. Like really little kids.
Yeah, it does.
And then there are times where you're like, that is too mature for little kids. So it's like, which audience does this appeal to?
Yeah.
Who's this movie meant for?
Yeah.
Like who's gonna watch this really? It's not necessarily a family, like what is this film?
Yeah, that was a source of conflict for me, because on the one hand, I do like that you know, this is like Jack the Giant Slayer is to Snow White and the Huntsman, as I feel Hansel and Gretel is to Abe Lincoln. So like Jack the Giant Slayer is lighter because Snow White is so dark, and I appreciated the whimsy they put into it. But I do give you that it'll just go off into places where I'm like, that's a joke for like a 6-year-old, and 6-year-olds aren't going to be watching this because the violence is too extreme.
Yeah,
you know, like, and it's not extremely violent or bloody, but it does suffer a little bit from who is this for syndrome.
Yeah, and I guess the best part of this movie is the finale. You know, it has like, it teases at the best thrills. And those thrills I felt should have been throughout the film. But you know what's weird is, there's one part in this movie, and I ask everyone about it, where you're sure this movie is going to end. It's before the finale, you're sure it's going to end. 2 thoughts will go through your mind. One is that it? That's all there is? There's no real conclusion? The second one is, thank God this fucking movie's over. And then they get to the finale, and it ends up being not that bad. But when you look back on it, not much really happens in the finale.
Yeah, it is kind of problematic, because I like the way the plot moves in one sense, because it did go certain places that like seeing the trailer I didn't think it would go, and it didn't dwell too much on anything, but at the same time, that is like the best sequence at the end there, you know? But
when the finale ends, I'm not going to give it away, but when the finale ends, it ends in such a predictable and fast way where you're like, that's how they just wrap it up all of a sudden. It was a letdown the way they end the finale, because it was the best part, and then they ended at such a random. It's not random, it's predictable, but at the same time, it just puts like a halt on everything. It just stops everything all of a sudden.
Well, and they have the exact same coda as Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the exact same outro. Reason up to scene number 3. Visual effects.
I was very distracted by the Giants' visual effects. It never had me engrossed to the point where I just believed what I was watching. The whole time I was going like, how they make the Giants, you know, how the actors play off these Giants. It was a very distracting visual experience.
Yeah, the thought never fully left my mind of, oh, these are all CG. And, you know, maybe it's because there's so much of them, but you'd think the CG would be better, especially because there is one scene there's a kitchen scene with one giant where that giant looks spectacular. So, like, why couldn't the rest of the Giants be so good?
I have no idea why.
You know, yeah, the effects are certainly uneven.
Split decisions. Costume design.
I thought the costume design was cool.
I thought the costumes sucked. They looked like
we are at a split decision.
They look like they were from the 90s, these costumes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Jack a little bit looked like he was wearing the medieval equivalent of like jeans and a hoodie, but
yeah, that's true.
That was the only choice I found distracting in any way, because halfway through I really was like, wait a minute, that is just a hood and it's just made of leather, so it looks medieval.
I thought all the costumes looked like they were from Party City.
Or like Medieval Topic.
Yeah, something like that. Well, anyway, yeah, I mean, I just thought this film had a lot of uneven tonal shifts, a lot of underwritten characters. It's not a great film, it's not a horrible film, it's just an alright movie.
Yeah, and I think sort of which side you'll fall on depends on how, you know, your expectations to begin with. You know, for me it was like, I had a good time.
It's a good time if it's like on Netflix, in my opinion, or if you happen to catch on television, or even rent the DVD.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like go out, oh, IMAX, go see it 3D. Like, if you went to a matinee or something, I think you would have a good time because there's still spectacle.
Take away all your expectations and you'll love the movie. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Go ahead and tell us your reasons to see or not to see Jack the Giant Slayer. And if you want to hear my straight to the point review of Jack the Giant Slayer, go ahead and click on the link right here.
If you want to see more episodes of Reasons to See, go ahead and click this button right here.
And if you want to get the full Real Rejects experience, or just get updated on every time there's a video, click here to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Right here on this box right here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Go ahead and subscribe.
Subscriptions are good for you.
And we will reply to your comments.
We probably will. It happens.
Yeah.
Until we get like 1 million followers, and there's way too many.
Yeah. Oh, even then, we'll try.
Yeah, no, we'll hire a team.
Yeah.
Just to comment.
Even on especially the haters, the ones who hate it. Oh, yeah. But we'll go all out on you guys.
A whole hater wing and the Reasons to See conglomerate studios.